Okay, cool. All right, so on the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, we're going to talk about the law of intuition.
Mm.
This says that leaders evaluate everything with a leadership bias. So this is probably one of the toughest laws to teach, because it's literally almost a natural thing that comes. Okay. So even though everybody can grow as a leader, there's some people that just have a natural bent of what we call intuition. Now, all of us have intuition. Okay. So we can kind of sense or see, but some people just have a next level intuition, and they just are able to kind of see things come together. That's more of a natural gift. So, for example, somebody that is naturally talented with their singing or whatever that is, that you just watch and go, holy cow. Like, as much as you could try to grow, you just might not get to that level because you just don't have that gifting of it. And this is that one that's probably a little bit distinct. Um, you know, when you're an intuitive leader, you just naturally kind of see things that pertain to leadership. So you just kind of pull it through and go, I can kind of see how this all comes together. There's a guy on one of our boards, Keith Ray's like one of those guys. Jamie Rasmussen is one of those guys. They just have this very ability, high level ability to just see things and put it all together. They spend time investing in that, but the return is much higher because they just have a natural gift as a leader. John teaches basically that everybody, again, can learn to lead, but not everybody can learn to lead at the same level. Okay. In this sort of intuition level, if that makes sense. So, comments, thoughts about that? You guys have probably seen that in different areas of life. You're like, wow, that person's just excellent at that area, and they're probably just naturally gifted, in that area.
That's true.
Yeah. So he basically talks about this idea that when you do something as a leader and you pull back and you're reflecting, okay, this goes back to the law of reflection. You ask some questions and you say, the first thing is, what did I feel? This is part of the intuition. What did I feel? Okay, so you make a note of that. What do I know? Okay, so that goes back to just foundational truth. Okay, what do I think? Okay, so we're talking about head now. So what do I think? And then what do I do? So that just, goes to action. So as a leader, we're sitting back and we're reflecting, we're asking those 4 questions. What do I feel? What do I know? What do I think? What do I do when all is said and done? And that allows us to extract out, okay, as a leader in situations, how we can actually see strengths or different areas that we can improve on when all is said and done. And he says, if you're intuitive in the area that you're gifted in, rely on it. Okay. So if each of you guys has your own gifts, you want to rely on that. One of the things we talk about here is, protect each other's weaknesses, lean into each other's strengths. So you guys did that with Lana on this whole like building something, right? And so, she ended up building that whole thing out. And it's her natural bent. It's like, oh my gosh, she's really good at that. Well, good. Let's use that. When all is said and done. We do that on the board all the time. It's like, well, he's really good at that. I don't need to be good at that. Like, that's his gift. Or we have 2 doctors on there. It's like when all of a sudden we had the pandemic. It's like, you tell us, you lead us through this. We're not experts.
Sure.
We want to know your perspective on things. Or if we're in real estate, we're leaning on the real estate guys. Like, that's the beauty of this team, is we can kind of go, well, that's your strength, so let's lean into that. And then the intuition goes better. And if you're not good at it, go find somebody who is, and go, I need to fill that gap because I'm not good at that. That's not my natural gifting. And that's this law of intuition, is something that naturally comes to you. You're intuitive about it. You have a sense about it. Like when you're dealing with people, you just get a sense when you're, working with them and negotiating with them. You're like, okay, I think this is what's going on. And you know how to guide it and lead it. That's natural for you, right? This idea of being a concierge. I can sort of just know where to go here. There's intuition in that, right? Tom, when you teach, it's like you just kind of have some intuition. I think I know how this all goes together. Working on the car, it's like I just sense that this is what's going on. Right? There's just a natural bent for those things. So that's the law of intuition. There's not a ton to talk about there, but it is true that is a law of leadership. So comments or thoughts about that at all?
Yeah, I think intuition is important too, because like your experience it's like capability and confidence, like the 4 C's.
Yes.
As you experience things in your career, your life, you're gonna have intuition of unique things. Like when I started, I would get dragged down the line and then just get cut at the end. Where now it's like I start noticing things earlier, and then it allows me to use my intuition to realize maybe this isn't an ideal client sooner than later. So I think intuition is built over time through experiences, but also through those, commitment, capabilities, and confidence of, where you're at with your intuition too.
Yeah, it's a great point that, you made commitment, you were courageous, you got these new capabilities where you're like, okay, I think I see something new. You have confidence to go, okay, you know what? I see something new, right? I've seen this before. I'm pairing those two together, and then I'm making the decision based upon that, which is just wisdom. Yeah, that's a really great point. Because intuition, there's a natural gifted to us, but if you do something enough, you do see things. You're just like, I've had so many reps on deals, I'm like, I can see it. I've sniffed that out before. May not be 100%. You got a pretty good idea where that's going to go. When all is said and done, right? That's a good point. What about you, Tom?
I feel like there's like multiple facets to it on like just the intuition level. Like you could have like the intuition to be a good leader, but if you're like the doctor's example during the pandemic, you could be kind of a crummy leader, but if you're in a field where you have a lot of intuition, it probably elevates you as a leader in that field. Like those doctors might not be ready to coach a basketball team or something like that, but once it becomes into like their realm of intuition, so you could have like intuition as a leader, where if you put into a certain situation, you could be a pretty decent leader in any situation. But you could have like those fields where it's like you just have a lot of intuition in that area, so you'd be naturally just become a good leader in that area. If that makes sense, I'm not sure. You could, if you find like a really good alignment with somebody who's a great leader, or like through intuition to be a great leader, and then is leading in an area where they have a lot of intuition themselves, it could, compound it further, I guess.
Yeah, I think I think the distinction of the leader is to say, you're not necessarily going to be the expert in it. You're going to pull the people together to extract it, right? So yes, you will have more intuition as the leader. You don't need to be the expert. You need to be able to get the expert and extract that information out, right? Even today when I was, chatting with this gal, I was just asking a lot of questions. Why is that important to you? What do you think you're really good at? Why did that go really well? Why did that not go really well? So part of leadership is just asking questions to extract what you think you need to in order to take that and use that intuition to go, okay, I think I'm seeing this. Okay. And that's where you get that collective information. I did that even at the H3 thing. I was asking everybody a bunch of questions, And then I pulled it all together and said, I think I'm hearing this
Yeah.
out of what you guys all said. Does that sound right? Or they might have said yes, no, and then we keep moving to get to that clarity button. Does that make sense? Because it took us to an area to say, oh, looks like we're going here. I didn't even see that happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, we need to go there. Okay, great. So that's kind of that intuition, but you have to be in the game enough, get enough reps to see that. Otherwise you just won't, right? Like you just have enough conversations, make enough calls. You go, no, I kind of know how this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Kind of see it through.
yeah. Good. Well, good conversation.